There we go. Okay. Hello, Monique. I just saw hello, Monique. And hello, Karen. Okay, let me open up the Q&A before we get going here. It's opened. Okay. And let me get my screen share here. Can everybody hear me? I hope. Hi, Bettina. Bettina, can you hear me speaking? Great. Okay, everyone can hear me speaking. My dog just came in the room because he knows I'm talking and he wants to know who I'm talking to. All right, let me expand this to video. Let me put this over here. Screen share. And we still have 5 minutes before we begin. And people are coming on board right now. There's 21 of us on board right now. Hi, Sean. It's good to hear from you again, as always. I don't need this. I'm already part of Zoom. So now let me go to screen share. Okay. No, go away. Get down. Okay. 4 minutes recording, screen share. Oops, wait a minute. Cancel this. I don't want this. Let me go back to what did I do with my oh, there it is, formulating for salt and pepper hair. Okay. Now, everybody should be able to see this, I hope. Formulating for salt and pepper hair. This is today's webinar. Hopefully everyone can see the screen. And let me take this off for 1 second here. $30 people. You hold on a second here. Okay. 12:58, 2 minutes to go. Okay. First of all, let me tell everyone before we get going, a couple of announcements. First of all, I have leased a space here in New York City for classes, small classes, but nevertheless, I don't want to do big classes anymore. So I'm going to be doing small groups of no more than 20 people, 20, 24 people at a time. It'll be here in New York City. And I'm just waiting for the final answers on restrictions being lifted and everything else so that we can all work. These will be advanced classes. They will not be classes for novice people or newbies into our profession. Can everybody see the from now on, at this point only, I can only see through Q&A. So first of all, can everybody see the the first slide, formulating for salt and pepper hair. That's up on the screen. Okay, Angela said yes. So thank you to everyone. You can all see. And Luke, hi, Luke. Luke, I want to talk to you because of the next seminar that I'm doing. The one after this one is going to be all tones, how to create blended tones. And I know that you have some wonderful formulas that we've talked about over the years. And so I'm going to duplicate them for the entire group so they can see them. Mary Brush says she can only see me. Mary, are you on your computer or are you on a telephone? Because if everybody else can see the screen, I don't know why you can't. Mary, you're on your computer. I don't know why you can't see. Let me back off here for just a second and let me see. Wait, whoops, I didn't mean to do that yet. Oh, here I am going crazy again. I don't understand what's going on. Wow, it just keeps changing all by itself. Super ultra sensitive. Well, for some reason, guys, I don't know why, but I cannot seem to get back to. All right, I know what I'm going to have to do here, even though I don't want to. I'm going to have to somehow figure out how to close this. Guys, I'm frozen at my end also. Oh, well. Let me see. There we go. Now I'm back to where I have my Zoom screen. I have this screen, but I'm trying to, Okay, participants, we're up to 52 people are signed in. A number of you have raised your hands. Unfortunately, I don't know what this means. Raise your hands. If you have a question, just type it in. And then I will get the questions. At the bottom of my Zoom screen, yeah, screen share. I'm just going to go back to sharing the screen, guys, and we're just going to move on with the seminar. Okay. No. Okay. Q&A. Okay, I finally have the Q&A back. I've got my picture back. Everything's working once again, I hope. So here we go. Okay, I just turned it back on, screen sharing back on again, which means that everybody should be able to see the salt and pepper screen now, hopefully. And here we go. Formulating for salt and pepper hair. The reason that I wrote this particular program is because salt and pepper hair is the hair that we see most often in the salon. And for some reason, it's the hair that gives us the most trouble in the salon. So the telephone number that you see on your screen right now, 917-375-7741. That's my cell phone number. And I give my cell phone number to everyone who attends any of my seminars, any of my webinars, and for all the users of the products that I create. And you can call me at any time, every day of the week. The only time I won't answer my phone is after 10 o'clock at night. Prior to, and that's the Eastern time. Prior to that, I will always answer my phone. There's 2 email addresses for me, one at the Worldwide Hair Colorists Association and one at Chromastics. So here we go. Gray hair. Gray hair does not exist. It's an optical illusion. I know that everybody in the world is going to say to me, I can see it. No, you can't. You only think you see gray hair. It's an optical illusion. And what, in fact, you are really looking at is hair, white hair, that's interspersed with naturally pigmented hair. And an optical illusion takes place, and we see gray. That's where it comes from. It doesn't exist. Nobody's hair is the color gray unless we make it gray artificially. In fact, it's just simply white hair and pigmented hair. And the lighter the natural color, the lighter the gray appears to us. So a natural blonde intermixed with white hair gives you the illusion of pearl gray hair. A natural light brown intermixed with white hair gives the illusion of slate gray. And then dark brown hair, when you're intermixing it with white hair, gives you that smoky gray hair that we see, particularly on Middle Eastern people, from Sicilians, everyone who has that very dark brown hair, they get that smoky gray appearance to their hair. You see it also in South American hair because there's a lot of very coarse, dark, natural hair in South America. So when working with salt and pepper hair, the one thing that you must remember is that you're actually working on 2 hair colors at the same time. You're working on white hair and you're working on pigmented hair. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people don't take this into consideration. And when they don't take it into consideration, you end up with what we often see, women walking on the street in any city with brassy or orange appearing hair. And it's because they tried to do color that was too light because they saw white hair, and they just, because everybody assumes that people with salt and pepper hair should go lighter. And they use very light shades on them, and then they end up with brassy hair. So here are some salt and pepper techniques that I'm going to talk about. There's 5 different techniques that I want to talk about in this webinar. The first one is a soft glaze using only light deposit-only colors. That's a soft glaze. Then I want to talk about 100% gray coverage or complete gray coverage using permanent color. The third topic is I'm going to talk about blended coverage using a super glaze technique, one of my favorites, and what I probably did more of in the salon than anything else. Then we're going to switch to lightening and coloring using high lift brunettes. And then after the high lift brunettes, we're going to talk about reduction of white using low light techniques. So let's start with the soft glaze technique. Now here are the rules for soft glaze. First of all, a soft glaze uses only deposit-only colors or liquid toners. Secondly, a soft glaze uses only lightest blonde, light blonde, medium blonde, or dark blonde. That's it. If you want a soft glaze, you cannot use darker than a dark blonde. A soft glaze is only mixed with 10 volume developer, and the maximum timing for a soft glaze is 20 minutes. Now, here's the kicker. If you're going to do a soft glaze technique, your product cannot contain ethanolamine. Now, ethanolamine is also known as MEA, and now, because so many people have learned that it shouldn't be in product, I don't think it should be in products. I don't like its side effects, but a lot of people now are questioning products that contain ethanolamine. So what are the manufacturers doing? They're substituting slightly different names for ethanolamine. However, MEA is MEA, no matter what name you call it by. And it's something that you must not have if you want to do a soft glaze technique. Now, I'm going to show you some examples of soft glaze. Now, what you can see here is this swatch right here, number 3001. First of all, this is what we started with. We started with a salt and pepper swatch. This is a virgin swatch here, and it was 50% white hair, 50% medium brown, but a darker medium brown, but not a strong dark brown color. So this is 50% medium brown, 50% white. And here what I did in 3001, I did the technique I was talking about, which is 10 volume using demi, deposit only, 10N for 20 minutes. And you can see that although there is some color, there's very little color on the white hair, and consequently, you'll see a little result, but not very much. The same thing is true when you go to the deposit only 8N. You do see a little bit more color, but once again, all of the white hair is still strongly visible. It's not until you get down, whoops, what happened? It's not until you get down to the medium blonde, which is deposit only 7N, and I made this by simply mixing 8 and 6 together in equal parts. And over here, this fourth one is deposit only 6N. And you can see that in each case, all four of these cases, the white is still obvious, but when you use the medium and dark blonde shades, what you end up is a very, very soft addition of color that gives you a blended look. So the hair itself will not look very strong white. the white part of the hair. Instead, it'll have a very soft glaze on top of it. Now, because we were using a medium and dark blonde color, it has pretty much zero effect on the pigmented hair. And because it does not contain ethanolamine, it did no base breaking or anything else. So what you ended up with was deposit only to give you a very soft glaze. Got it? Good. So now 100% or complete coverage technique. Now, the first thing I want to say about this is that it's a very misleading term when you say 100% or complete gray coverage, because most colorists believe it means the white hair has been tinted to the same level as the dark hair. Well, that's wrong, because that is not always the case. 100% or complete gray coverage means all of the white hair is colored to the chosen level, which is not necessarily the same level as the darker hair. In other words, it can be any level, lighter or darker. And you still get complete gray coverage, just not at the dark level. Now, when using permanent color for complete gray coverage, it's important that the color applied to the salt and pepper hair is no more than 3 levels lighter than the pepper. Otherwise, you end up with warm or brassy hair. Oh, wait a second. Let me see. I have a Q&A here. Sharon Rogers. Sharon, if for those of you that are connected to Chromastics on Demand, Sharon posts a lot of videos, and she's talking about the super glaze techniques, which we're going to get to in a couple minutes. I'll tell you what she says in just a couple seconds here, and we'll talk about it. But once again, back to here. You don't want to ever move more than 3 levels lighter. Why? Because you're going to end up with warm or brassy hair when using permanent color. Now, here just general information here and general rules. Most permanent color applications use 10, 20, or 25 volume developer. The reason that you change your developer is because of the texture of the hair. If you're working on salt and pepper hair and it's very fine, well, then you probably only need 10 volume. But if you're working on salt and pepper hair that is coarse, then you need 25 volume in order to get really good color deposit in that coarser textured salt and pepper hair. Now, most permanent color is processed anywhere from 35 to 45 minutes. Once again, it's the texture. The medium and medium textured hair generally only takes about 35 minutes, whereas coarser textured hair often requires longer processing time, the 45-minute processing time. Most permanent color with ammonia contains from less than 1% to about 1.6% in the blonde shades. And when you substitute ethanolamine, which is MEA, for ammonia, lightning action is decreased. In other words, you do not get the same lightning action from your peroxide as when you substitute MEA for ammonia. So therefore, 10 volume only lightens your hair a little bit more than a half of a level. 20 volume, about a level and a half, and 25 volume, about 2 levels. So the lightning action is decreased when you when you substitute ethanolamine or MEA. And look at this very last statement here. Permanent hair color formulated with MEA is not less damaging to the hair. There's a report, and you've probably all seen it by now because I published it many times. I found it on the, I think it was the National Institute of Health website. And it says the damage that occurs to hair when using ethanolamine and peroxide combinations is up to 80% more damaging than using ammonia and peroxide. If you don't have that, just send me an email and I'll make sure that I send it to all of you once again. Now here's some permanent color. So let's talk about each one of these individually. First of all, once again, the swatch that I'm working on is the one on the left, which is salt and pepper hair, 50-50. So look at this formula on the left side here. For a formula for number 3010, I took 30 grams of XL Super plus 15 grams of 3N plus 15 grams of 2RO. So what I've done is I've mixed together neutral, red, orange, and super. And the reason I did the XL Super was to give me extra lightening action. In the second formula, I used for formula number 3011, and I just simply substituted 2RV for the 2RO. But now let's look very carefully at both of these swatches. First of all, the 3010 swatch, you can see a couple of things when you're looking at this swatch. First of all, remember from my previous webinars and seminars, I always tell you the same thing. When you mix neutral and red orange together, a chemical interaction takes place between the dyes and the couplers, the dye and the coupler, and you end up with more of a violet looking instead of an orange looking color. And you can see that right here. So even though this is still brighter than 3011, which is the 2RV swatch, you can see it's brighter, it's a little bit lighter, but it also has a little bit of a violet cast to it, because when you intermix neutral and red orange, it takes the mixing causes the red orange to appear more red violet. Sharon asked me what volume are these swatches. Well, there's different volumes. In this case, what I did is these were mixed with just hold on a second here. I've got to actually look at my formula sheet here. Da-dum, da-dum. Okay, these were mixed with a 20 volume developer, even though I used XL Super, because the reason I added the XL Super was to get extra lightning action from the 20 volume. So these were both done with 20 volume developer. Lisa asked, was the starting pepper level a natural 6 or lighter? Okay, if you look over here, this is the natural swatch that I used, Lisa Marie, and this is equal parts. In other words, 50-50. Half of it is white and the other half is a medium brown. I know that you're saying natural 6. Now, I don't know what color brand you use, because in some color brands, 6 is a brown, and in other color brands, it is a blonde. So, but that's why I'm using words instead of numbers. This is medium brown and white, equal proportions. Now here what I've done is I've taken the same swatch once again, and this time in swatch number 3019, it's just straight 3 red violet. Now look down here, 3 red violet, I mixed together 2 and 4 in equal parts to make 3 red violet. So I just, so the actual formula is 30 grams of 4RV plus 30 grams of 2RV to give me 60 grams of 3RV. And then I mixed it together with 40 volume developer, and I applied it to this very dark hair. And what you see here is you can see, wait a minute, I just realized something. We have to go back. We have to go back to this slide here because I made an error. Sharon, I said that I used 40 volume developer. I did not. I used 20 volume developer. Or did I say that? I'm getting so old. I can't always remember what I say. This was done with 20 volume developer. Now back here to the second one. Once again, this thing was done with only 20 volume developer, not 40. So this is 60 grams of 3 red violet applied to this swatch. Now here's what I did. In this second swatch, I applied the same 3 red violet, but this time I added 20 grams of XL Super. Now, why did I add XL Super? Because it does 2 things. It slightly dilutes this color here, and it also gives me a little bit extra lightening action. So now what you see is you can see that I have a brighter result using the XL Super. But then in this third swatch, what I've done on swatch number 21, 3021, I also added neutral concentrate. So by adding the neutral concentrate, you can see what's happened is that I have a much softer coverage on the white hair. So I get a better blend of the white and brown hair together to give me a look that it's still highlighted, but the highlights are now not just straight red violet, but red violet with neutral. Nikki asked, Nikki, when in all of these formulas, every formula that I do will always be equal parts of developer. So if I use 60 grams of 3RV, then the total is 60 grams of developer. Okay, Lisa Marie, very good question from Lisa Marie. She asked, why could you not have just used a higher volume instead of using XL Super? There's a couple of different answers to this. So let me explain. First of all, when you add XL Super to a color formula, it causes the color formula to become a slightly lighter shade, and it increases the lightening action. Yes, I could have simply pumped up the developer, but remember that damage to hair is always directly proportional to the strength of the developer. So I rarely pump up developer. I do use 40 volume developer, but never more than one time on hair. And if I've used 40 volume developer on their hair and they come back for a touch up, I use the 40 volume developer, but only on the new growth. And I don't pull color through. That's one of those things that it took me a long time to learn over the years, that pulling color through is one of the worst things that you can do for wearability of hair color. It has the opposite effect of what most people think. It causes color to fade more rapidly the more times you pull color through. Excuse me. Now, I was talking about higher volume. So yes, I could have used a higher volume, but I would not have had the same result. It would have been similar. Yes, it would have, but it would not have been the same. And when I always add XL Super to formulas on darker salt and pepper hair, because it gives you a longer lasting, better color result on darker salt and pepper hair. Now, moving on to the next one. Now look at this one. Here, what I've done is I did the same thing. I took 60 grams of, in this case, 3RO instead of 4RO. And look at the result. And once again, it's mixed with a 20 volume developer, and it was left on the hair for 45 minutes. And so this first one is just pure 3RO. And once again, look at the bottom. 3ROs was a combination of equal parts of 4RO and 2RO. So that gave me 3RO. I applied it, and the white hair is very bright. And now here in this second swatch, you can see what I've done is I've simply added XL Super in swatch number 3017. This is the identical color, the 3RO, but this time I added XL Super. So I used 20 grams of XL Super and 40 grams of 3RO. And you can see that it lightened the 3RO, and this is definitely lighter and brighter. But then look at the third swatch, the 3018 swatch, when I added 10 grams of gold concentrate. So you can see what I've done here is I have a much brighter color result, but I softened it using just a little bit of gold concentrate. Now I could have added the gold concentrate to the first one, or this, and I did to the second one to get this result. If I had used the gold concentrate with the first one, all of this hair would have been a little bit brighter, but also softened color result. Now, in this case, what I did was I've chosen to do something very different. This, once again, the first swatch is the same swatch we've been using right along. And in this case, what I did in 3012 is I created a soft ash, lightest brown. And I applied it with 20 volume developer for 45 minutes. And you can see very clearly that it has colored all of the white hair, and it did lighten the dark hair a little bit, but because I added the green to it, it kept it as a very soft ash color. Now here, if you look at this one, it's what I did is look at the formula first. In swatch number 3015, I used a little bit of XL Super, but I changed the 5N to a 4N. Why? Because remember the dilution rule. I used 15 grams of XL Super, so the 4N is no longer 4N, it becomes 5N. And then I added the green concentrate just as before. So this formula is the same as this formula, except it has a little bit more lightning action. And you can see what actually happened is I ended up with a slightly lighter version of the same color. So this is 5N all by itself, and this is 5N, but it lightened the hair a little bit more, so you get a closer blend. That's why I added the XL Super, to get a little bit more lightening and a better blend of the two shades. No, Manish, these are, once again, these are done with 20 volume developer. No, you're using number, Lee. If you, the XL Super gave me a little bit more lift. Now I'll stay on this page right here. So what happened here was 20 volume developer on an average head will give you approximately 2 levels of lift. But remember that when you're working on coarse textured salt and pepper hair, 20 volume developer will not give you a full lightening action. With the addition of the XL Super, that increased it so that it did in fact give me a full level of lift. And so consequently, in this case, in the first case, it was 2012. This is the medium brown hair lightened up to light brown, but to a little bit lighter than light brown. But the white hair became the 5N. In this case, because I added XL Super in 2013, now the 3N has jumped 2 levels to a dark blonde, which is a 6 for me. I don't know what level system you work with, and the white hair once again is that same color. So yes, in fact, that's why this one looks a little bit lighter. It did give me lightning action, not quite 2 full levels, but it because of the texture, but it did give me more lightning action. And then one more. In this case, I mixed together 5N and 6 blue violet. Now remember, when you mix neutral and blue violet together, this is how you create tobacco shades. Tobacco shades are also known as warm ash, because what happens is that even though you're adding a blue violet, an interaction takes place between the blue violet couplers and the neutral dye, and you end up with a little bit of a pinky cast, which makes it a soft, makes it a warm ash color. In the second case, what I've done is on swatch 3015 is once again, I added XL Super so I went one level deeper with the neutral to give me a 5N. So once again, I'm using 5N, but it has more lightening action than regular 5N because of the XL Super. I mixed it with 20 volume developer, and of course I added the same 15 grams of 6BV. Oh, look here, I put 14 grams. That's an error. It should be 15 grams. Oh, well. And so consequently, if you look at this swatch and this swatch, the white hair is the same color, but the dark hair has become a little bit lighter. Annette Farnan asks a very good question. If you look at her question, does XL or XL Super cause the hair to fade quicker? The answer is no. Remember that the fading of hair color has to do with the amount of dye that's in the formula and the way the hair has been treated over time. So consequently, you will not get quicker fading just because of this. But for instance, here, quicker fading is caused by pulling color through that is a permanent color and not deposit only. Quicker fading is caused by the sunlight. It is also caused by higher pH shampoos, and it is caused by simple long time wear and tear on the hair. Oh, Lisa Marie is asking about the percentage rule. Lisa Marie, I did. It's very simple. For every 15 grams of color or lightener or anything that you add to a formula, so it can be clear, it can be extra lightening cream, it can be another tone. Whenever you add two tones together in a formula, they always dilute each other. And so for every 15 grams of a different tone that you add, for instance, to neutral, the neutral becomes one level lighter. Now there's an entire there's an entire video and on YouTube and at the worldwide site, and also I think I did papers on it. I think I did a paper on it also describing it, but it doesn't make any difference what color manufacturer you work with. The rule always applies. Jamal wants to know where I got the salt and pepper hair. I buy this. There's a supplier, Jamal, who supplies salt and pepper hair to people who manufacture hair color. They will sell it to a salon, but the orders, it's really terribly expensive. A half a pound of this salt and pepper hair, it's virgin salt and pepper hair, and a half a pound of it cost me $800. If send me an email and I will send you all the information where you can purchase it in that. Tex Martin, half 20 volume okay instead of full, half 40 instead of full 20. Well, what happens when you cut the volume of developer, not the volume, but the quantity of developer in half, you do get much better gray coverage, but you also have a darker color, because remember that the level that a color achieves in its final form is dependent upon the correct amount of developer being added to a formula. When you lower the amount of developer that goes into a formula, not the volume, but the actual amount, you increase the dye concentration, and the increase of dye concentration is that causes the color to become darker. Okay, what is it that Luke has said here? What you're trying to say is when you're trying to achieve perfect uniform coverage on salt and pepper hair, that's when you match the pepper. Yeah, no, not exactly. What you're saying here, Luke, I understand what you're saying, but no, I'm not saying that. We'll talk about this. Give me a call, and I'll tell you what. I'll answer it a little bit more in detail. Let me go back here. Where am I? Tobacco. Now, here's a couple more facts about gray hair. First of all, gray hair is not more resistant to dye penetration. I know that a lot of people have said this over the years. A lot of manufacturers have said this, that the reason that you've got to go longer is because of dye penetration. No, that's not the reason. This is color, and we've been able to test this in the lab by simply cutting off cross sections of the hair at different time intervals, dyeing them, cutting them at different time intervals, with and without, using 20 volume developer, and then looking at it, and the dye penetration on regular textured hair and on gray hair is the same, except there is a difference, but we'll talk about it in just a second here. And the reason is because dyes develop slower in white hair than they do in pigmented hair. Now, the reason that they develop slower is because pigmented hair naturally contains iron, magnesium, and zinc. And these three ionic metals that are in your hair naturally catalyze the reaction. Catalyzing the reaction means the reaction goes faster. So salt and pepper hair, because it's white hair, the reaction goes slower. Now, I have said this 100 times. Salt and pepper hair can and should be your friend. Why? Because it is the color result that you get when you work correctly or differently on salt and pepper hair is spectacular, and it allows you to take advantage of certain types of salt and pepper hair, so it looks like you did a full head of highlights. If you have 20 to 30% white and it's spaced throughout the hair and you color it, all of that hair looks like you highlighted the hair. So that's why I love working on salt and pepper hair. Let's talk about super glaze. Now, Sharon was talking about super glaze. She does a lot of these. Once again, go to the Chromastics on Demand site and look. Some of the work that's done, a lot of the work that's done on the Chromastics on Demand site is amazingly beautiful. I am so proud to be associated with all of these colorists that are doing such good work. And what you learn when you change the way that you've been approaching color, and you start thinking about it as a chemical reaction, and you start thinking about it using the other side of your brain as an artistic technique, and you combine the two together, you end up with very long-wearing color that does not fade off tone, because you've learned the chemistry part, which keeps it on tone and on level, and then you've learned the artistic technique, which gives you spectacular color results. So let's talk about super glaze techniques. First of all, here are the rules for super glaze technique. A super glaze technique is when you mix equal parts of permanent and deposit only color, equal parts. You mix it with 20 volume developer and you leave it on the hair for 20 minutes. Yes, I know you can leave it longer, and we'll talk about that shortly, but let's stick with the way it was designed. 20 volume, 20 minutes. Before you apply the color, you shampoo the color with clarifying shampoo, and then you towel dry the hair. You do not dry the hair completely. It is ideal for blending salt and pepper hair. But the most important point of all, it must not contain ethanolamine, MEA. A super glaze will not work if your product has MEA in it. So, moving on. This chart explains it a little bit more. But let me take you through it step by step. First of all, permanent color is 100% oxidative dyes. Deposit only color is 100% oxidative dyes. If you want the color, if you wanted this to work perfectly, if you want it to really work beautifully. Secondly, so consequently, when you mix them together, you still have 100% oxidative dyes. Permanent dye has a pH of approximately 10.5. Deposit only color has a pH of approximately 8.0. Now, 8.0 is actually the high end. It's 7.9 is still in the neutral zone. So this is just outside of the neutral zone. So when you mix the two of them together, you end up with a pH of about 9.25. Now, regular permanent color can use 10, 20, 30, 40 volume developer, anything you want, whereas deposit only color generally is mixed with either 7.5, 10, or 12 volume developer. In this case, for a super glaze, you're going to mix it with 20 volume developer. Permanent color, it must contain ammonia and not MEA. And your deposit only color, instead of being MEA or ammonia, it must contain AMP, which is amino methyl propanol. So this only works with ammonia and AMP. Now here's the beauty of it. Normally, depending upon the developer, you get from 1 to 4 levels of lightening from either 10, 20, 30, or 40 volume developer on average textured hair. But with deposit only color, you get 0 levels of lift. But when you have a super glaze, even though you've mixed it with 20 volume developer, because you've mixed it with half permanent and half deposit only, your ammonia content is cut in half. And because the ammonia content is cut in half, 20 volume developer will no longer be catalyzed to lighten 2 full levels. It will only lighten 1 full level, in about 30 to 35 minutes. So consequently, if you're using it for only 20 minutes, you're only going to get approximately a half of level of lightening. Got it? Now, let's move on to some actual pictures here. First of all, swatch number 22. You can see what I've done here is I've mixed together equal parts of permanent 4N, which is light neutral brown, and deposit only light neutral brown. 4N and 4N, equal parts. It was mixed with 20 volume developer, and it was left on the hair 20 minutes. Now, remember, it was on the hair for 20 minutes, so therefore the medium brown hair cannot be lightened more than just a half of a level, which means it's still medium brown. You can barely see any lightening because I also put color back in it at the same time. And every white hair has been colored very softly now. It has been blended. And because it was only on 20 minutes, not 35 or 45 minutes, what color is this? Remember, go back to the rule about color over time. Because it was only on 20 minutes, the most that this can be is, even though I used a brown, the most it can be is a dark blonde. And look, lo and behold, every white hair is a blonde shade, and every dark hair is still medium brown. That's what a super glaze does. It blends the color together. In this case, 3023, I used gold. I used light golden brown and deposit only light golden brown. Once again, it's the brown hair is still brown, and the white hair has now become golden blonde. And on the third swatch, I mixed together neutral and gold. It doesn't matter which one is the neutral and which one is, whoops, I jumped up again. It doesn't matter which one is the neutral and which one is the gold. You could have switched it back and forth either direction. And you can see what's happened here is now I have a warm neutral result on all of the white hair, and all of the dark hair still looks the same. This is why a super glaze is so great. It allows you to use a lighter than you would normally use color for a short period of time and give you spectacular results. Here's another example. This time what I did, I took a dark, oh, see this 30, this is incorrect. This should be 30 grams. So anybody who's writing this down, this is 30 grams, not 20. I'll have to correct this before I post it. This is 30 grams. So equal parts of dark red violet and 30 grams of neutral concentrate. Now remember, all of the concentrates are in a deposit only base. Why? Because you want to be able to use them in both deposit only and in permanent color. So consequently, they're in the deposit only base. So I mixed them equal parts. I applied it with 20 volume for 20 minutes, and lo and behold, what I have is a great looking auburn shade, a cool auburn shade on salt and pepper hair. In this case, I mixed it with red, orange, and gold concentrate, and now I have a bright auburn shade. And in this case, I mixed it with, which is 3027, I mixed together permanent medium brown and equal parts of deposit only for blue violet. And what did I do? I created a light, a soft ash. Remember, I said when you mix blue, violet, and neutral together, you get a pinky ash color, a warm ash, also known as tobacco. And lo and behold, that's exactly what I have. I don't know if I have one more. Let's see. Oh, I do. I have one more. And here on a super glaze, what I've done is on 3028, I used a dark golden blonde and deposit only golden blonde. So I mixed them together, equal parts with 20 volume developer, and left it on the hair for 20 minutes. And lo and behold, because it was only on the hair for 20 minutes, I don't have dark golden blonde. Instead, the dark hair is still dark, but all of the white hair is a golden blonde shade. In this case, I use neutral on 3029, equal parts of neutral and deposit only neutral. And then in 3030, I mix the two of them together. I mix together equal parts of 6 neutral and 6 gold. And lo and behold, and notice something else about this. This third swatch here, the 3030, is a little bit lighter than the other two. Why? Because I intermix tones. When you intermix tones, you end up with a lighter overall color. Let me see here. Before we go on, before I go on, let me see what Mary asked a question here. First of all, Lisa Marie, if someone's natural hair is level 4, now I'm assuming you mean natural light brown by level 4, and they are all gray. Okay, here's the issue. Lisa Marie, you are either gray hair, which means you are light brown and white mixed together. That's what gray hair means. You've got white and neutral, white and natural mixed together. But if they're all white, then you don't have gray hair. You have 100% white hair. So I don't quite understand. And they want to be light blonde to lightest blonde. I'm a great believer, Lisa Marie, in double process blonding. But what you'll do is send me an email or give me a call, because you've got my phone number now. It was on the very first slide. And we'll talk, and I'll explain all of this to you about why and when I use lightener. Now, there was already a webinar on you lightening the hair. So go to any one of the sites and search for the lightener webinar, and particularly on salt and pepper hair. And I did a lot of formulas, and they were level 8 and level 10 on bleached hair. Angela said, what if I use one line for permanent and I make my demis with the same line? Okay, Angela, I believe I understand what you're asking, because there are lines that tell you that they have a special developer that changes their line into a demi. And generally, it's just a lower volume developer. And then sometimes they say that they've added phosphoric acid. Well, all developers have phosphoric acid in them, because that's how we stabilize. That's how we create the acidic environment that they're in. So it depends upon whether your line contains ammonia and deposit only AMP. You need the combination of ammonia and aminomethylpropanol in order for a superglaze to work. Jenny says she just comments that she uses superglaze on fine hair with 10 volume. The answer is yes. And it's because the hair is 10 volume, and excuse me, it's because the hair is fine that that you can get away with using 10 volume. Remember always, when working on finer textured hair, you can very often lower the volume of developer. And then Mary Brush says she has a client who's 90% white, and she uses an ounce of 8N and a half of an ounce of 10N with 20 volume. She adds neutral concentrate. But she has, Mary, this is off topic for this particular seminar. So do me a favor, keep your thought and send me an email, and I'll respond and I'll post it online for everybody to see the answers on the Ask Tom Dispenza website. Katrina said, help me understand. If you use deposit color in a 7 and 10 volume, that 7 would only affect the gray hair. And if you use super glaze, then the difference, okay, the difference between using a soft glaze and a super glaze. In this particular case, because you're using a level 7, no, you would end up with the same result. But the reason of a soft glaze, which is when you only use levels 8, 9, and 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, is because you want to only get mostly shine with just a bare minimal of color. But when you do a super glaze is generally done with colors that are deeper in color, but give you a more blended color result. You end up with more blended result with super glaze than you do with the soft glaze. Angela Spearman, you're using Tudo color, lovely color line. And I have one thing that I say over and over and over. If you're happy with your color line, continue to use it. I will never, ever say anything bad about any color line that's for professionals anywhere. If you're pleased with it, use it. But if you want to try this, you cannot do it. It won't work with a Tudo color. You have to do a super glaze with ammonia and AMP. And then Trey asked, will a super glaze work as a toner and base break on level 7 or lighter following a highlight service and tone the gray? Trey, yes, it will work as a toner. However, if you want to do a base break and tone at the same time, there's another whole way of doing it. Send me this question, and I'll respond and post it for everyone to see. There's a way of taking liquid toners and changing them into base breakers, and they tone at the same time. Oh, lots of really good questions, guys. Very good questions. Okay, high lift brunettes. Let me talk about high lift brunettes. Now, high lift brunettes. High lift brunette is used when you want to both to lighten medium to coarse brown hair, and it's salt and pepper, and you want to color it at the same time. Now, so you're going to lighten and color salt and pepper hair, but the function is to lighten the hair 3 levels without creating excessive warmth. So here's a general high lift brunette formula. You use 45 grams of XL Super plus 15 grams of the color that you choose, and I'm going to show you examples here in a second, and 60 grams of developer. Now, the developer could be, depending upon the texture of the hair, can be either 30 or 40 volume. Now, each that I'm going to show you is going to be done with 40 volume developer. So let me start with this one. Now, there's a difference. Both of these were done with the same color. I mixed together 40 on this salt and pepper swatch. Once again, I mixed together in swatch number 3006 is 45 grams of XL Super plus 15 grams of 1N. Now, 1N, that's black color. But remember the lightning rule. I have 45 grams of super. That's 15 plus 15 plus 15. That means that 1N is going to become 3 levels lighter. So the 1N is going to become 4 neutral. So consequently, here I have, so I've got on this first swatch, I applied it with 40 volume developer, and I left it on for 45 minutes. And lo and behold, the dark salt and pepper hair has lightened up to an overall color that's between that's around a light brown color, but it still has, wherever the white hair was, it still has some of the highlight coming through, except all of the highlight is now appearing as a dark blonde light color, but it's warm. And why is this color warm? Because what happened? I lightened salt and pepper hair about 3 levels, and it's turned a little warm. So what did I do in this swatch? In swatch 3031, I added 6 grams of blue-green concentrate. Now, 6 grams of blue-green concentrate is 4 grams of green concentrate and 2 grams of blue. That's how I made blue-green concentrate. So now, you can see that that's a 2-to-1 ratio. You get to decide how much of anything you want in it. Now, what you can see here is that now I have the same color, but I have a much softer color result. And why does it look a little bit lighter? It's because the overall tonality is no longer warm, it's cool. Excuse me, I didn't mean a little bit lighter. I meant a little bit cooler. It's the overall tonality, because of the addition of blue-green concentrate, cooled down this warmth that you saw, and you ended up with a softer, cooler color result. You ended up with a color that's basically a light brown color from dark blonde, but it still looks like it's been blended, and it has some highlight going through it. Now let me show you the next one. In this case, I took 3N, and I mixed it with 45 volumes of XL Super. So once again, it's 3 parts XL Super, 1 part 3N, which means the 3N became 3 levels lighter, 4, 5, 6. Lo and behold, all of the hair is 6. The white hair has all become a dark blonde color. And the only difference, well, again, I did it. The only difference between this swatch and the swatch 3035, it's the same formula, but with the addition of blue green concentrate. And look at how much cooler the color result is. So consequently, if you're going to use a shade that's a dark blonde, remember you're always going to end up with warm color results. And the way that you compensate for the warm color result is by using your concentrates. And in this case, it was blue and green mixed together to give me blue-green concentrate. And here on this next one, what I've done is I've used 4N. Now 4N, remember, when it's diluted down, becomes 7N. And lo and behold, this is a very, very gold looking, brassy appearing, golden. All of the white hair is medium blonde, and all of the brown hair has become very golden, looks brassy. And all I did was I added 6 grams of blue-green concentrate, and lo and behold, look what happened. I now have what looks like a beautiful blend of dark blonde, a medium blonde, and medium brown, light brown hair. Very simple, nice and clean, mixed together. This is what I love about concentrates. Lee Black Beasley asked, what's the equivalent to XL Super in a different color line? Would it be their high lift blonde colors? Here's the answer. XL Super and XL Cream are completely intermixable with any hair color brand because they're nothing but just hair color base with different strengths of ammonia. XL Super has 3% ammonia. XL Cream has 1.6% ammonia. You can add them to any color line, and you can lighten, make your color line more translucent, or you can create your own shades of color using your color line. Trey, you asked about base break on level 7. You've never had results. Sure, and I'll tell you why. Trace commented that he's never had results doing a base break on darker hair. And I'll tell you why, Trey. It's because base breaking, although it's been around for about 25 years, and I can tell you the exact when it came into existence, because I was there the first time that you ever saw a base breaking on stage. And the reason that you always have, you don't have favorable results is because most people do base breaking wrong. They've never been taught the correct original way to do it. And because of that, you almost always end up with brassy looking results. I have a whole paper on it. Send me an email. Anybody who wants it, send me an email and I will forward it, or I'll just post it again, base breaking and how it's done correctly. Matter of fact, I will post it. I'll post it on, let me make a note. I'll post it on Facebook, base breaking. Okay. What do I have here? Oh, we just talked about this one. Okay, high lift brunettes. And then now, and here's the reason why. One of the problems that I have had for many, many years is that high lift hair color, and I can tell you exactly when it was invented because I was there. And once again, I was involved at the time when the very first high lift colors came out. I was there, and I can tell you why they were done and the results that we ended up with. And most people do not know the correct way to use high lift shades. And because of that, and because of the way they're formulated, you end up with really brassy or real ugly results in hair that's trashed. So when we created Chromastics, Peter and I worked on creating Chromastics for a very long time. And one of the issues that we had was high lift and how to create high lifts that were different. So we created a different type of high lift. First of all, XL Super is our tube of high lift. It has no color in it, which allows you to create any high lift color that you want, number one. Number two, it's mixed with single 40 volume developer, not double. Now, when you work with there's a difference between between volume that you put in a formula and the actual working volume. So the working volume of 40 volume developer, when it's mixed with XL Super, has a working volume of 20. So that's what the real working volume is. And it contains 3% ammonia. Because you're working with a working volume of only 20, and because there's only 3%, not 3.5 or 4 like most colors, you end up with a softer lift, less harsh looking color, and less damage to the hair. When you work with colors that are designed to high lift shades that use double 40 volume, your working volume is 26.66. Now, that doesn't sound like 6 points is high, but that's an enormous increase in working volume. And because permanent color, because most double 40 volume high lift shades have up to 4% ammonia, you get much more damage to the hair, and you end up with that straw, dry feeling and brassy look to the hair as the color wears. And a lot of the times it looks that way in the very, very beginning. So that's why we created a different type of high lift. I don't know what else is on here. Let me see. Okay, reduction of white. Now, this is the last technique that I'm going to talk about. And I don't actually have photos of it because I do this on full heads. Now, here's the secret to doing a low lighting technique for reduction of white. First of all, you have to use deposit only color. You cannot use regular permanent color with lower volume developer. It doesn't work. You must use deposit only color. You must use 10 volume developer. And if you're going to simply low light to reduce the amount of white, then you're going to use it at the same natural level, which means you're going to use it at level 2, level 3, or level 4. Except what you do is you start with black, and because Chromastics black does not contain any ammonia whatsoever. Chromastix Black 1N does not contain any ammonia. It only contains AMP because you don't need lightning action. So you get to use 10 volume developer, get 100% coverage at the level you want. But when you want a lighter shade, you lighten it by mixing it with deposit only 4N or neutral concentrate. That's how you lighten it. Now, when you do low lights, you want to start with no more than just 12 low lights in the hair. Why? Because when you're going to do reduction of white and you throw a ton of highlights, or excuse me, low lights in the hair, the client goes into shock. It is better to let them see themselves for a week or two with just a few low lights and then come back and ask you to do more. So you charge a lower amount of money, you only do 12 low lights, and then you let them look at it and then come back. Just remember, the color must not contain ethanolamine, which is MEA. It will not work with MEA. Now, for all of you, next week, I'm going to do another webinar. It's another free one. And I've been talking about pure tone color forever, but what I neglected to tell everyone, and I never even thought about this, was that when most of the color that I use in the salon is blended, except I don't buy blended color. I create them, and I create them from pure tone color. So my next webinar is all about creating blended tones for each client. You'll learn how to create any color imaginable by blending just a few shades together. And with few exceptions, you can create any level, any tone for anyone. So I'm going to talk about all of these different blends. I'm going to do everything from auburns, warm auburns, cool auburns, warm and cool brunettes, chocolates, chocolate browns, tobacco colors, beige colors, all three different types of ash colors, strawberries, melons, all of this. I'm going to include all of this in the next seminar, and it's 1 week away, April 19th, same time, 1 o'clock Eastern time, 1 p.m. And I'm going to post it later today. If you haven't already signed up, I'm going to post it everywhere later today with instructions and the how to sign up for the webinar. Now, one other thing, and that is this. For any of you that, if you don't know already, Peter Ciotti and I own the Chromastix hair color company. And I created this hair color brand for colorists, just for me and for colorists, because I got tired of having, 200 shades of color in the salon and everything else. So this is for all of us. And what I've done is we've put together 6 different you can try me deals. You can try Chromastix, and you don't ever have to buy it again. And you can try everything from the full line to just the permanent, just the deposit only, just the liquid, anything you want. If you decide that you do want to buy open stock, you'll need a code because it's for professional colorists only. It is not available to the public, and it never will be. And it's in no stores. I won't put it into beauty supply stores. You all know. This is for us. So if you decide you want to try it, just go to chromastix.com and try one of the different shades. Guess what, team? I am Tom Dispenza, and I have been talking now for, let's see, holy cow, It's 2:28, so I've been talking for an hour and a half again, another 90 minutes. I want to say thank you. Let me see if there's any more questions real quick before. Oh, we do have a couple more. The question is about 6BV permanent. Do I add neutral concentrate? If you want to, Sharon, there's a whole bunch of different ways to use 6BV. You can be used just by itself, mixed with XL Super as a highlighter on light and medium brown hair, or you can, with XL Super, or you can mix it with gold shades to create tobacco shades, or you can, but when you add neutral concentrate to it, remember that it makes it pinky. Gold concentrate, if you want to keep it as just simply blue violet with and make it a cool beige. Lisa Marie asked, what pattern do I place the 12 low lights? Lisa Marie, send me an email. I have patterns already done and published, and you can go online and there's a video on YouTube under Tom Dispenza showing placement of highlights in the hair, 12, 24, and face framing and all those different things. And Katrina, I'm going to post the link in just a few minutes. Everybody, for all of you that have been here through all of this, there's more than 60 of you online. I want to say thank you for everything that you've done, for all of your questions. Thank you for sticking around through another one of my webinars, next one and next week. And that's it. So thank you very much. And please have an amazing day. Stay safe. And I will also post when the new classes, hands-on classes for advanced hair color, not for novice users. I'll post when those are all ready, and we'll talk later. Thank you very much. And we're done.